Can't help it. Got to get ready for it. You know, it's hard to believe, though. The calendar will tell you that it is January 10th, and we're 69 days away from the official start of spring. But, you know, many businesses, spring started the day right after Christmas. Weather and business expert Paul Walsh joins us this morning. Paul, thanks so much for being with us. I got to ask you right off the bat, how much of a factor is the weather for spring businesses?
Reynolds, it's huge. Of course, going into holiday, we were talking about that, how the warm weather was impacting apparel retailers. When we get into spring, they have the same exact issue, only the opposite now. What they're hoping for is weather conditions that are relatively mild compared to normal and also dry weekends. So apparel retailers, obviously lawn and garden retailers and manufacturers hope for those dry weekends, and even outdoor entertainment, golf, all of those businesses are impacted to the tune of anywhere from 30 to 50%, all because of the weather and also the weather forecast, which is also very important.
I imagine strategy has got to be a really big part of their success. Obviously, they need to plan months ahead of time. So how do they strategize? How do they do that when the weather comes, when they see this weather months out?
Well, that's a great question, Reynolds. And businesses are actually getting a lot more sophisticated in terms of how they anticipate how changes in the weather is going to change demand for their products. They look at historical weather and they look at their historical business. They correlate those two, and then they actually start looking at like long-range forecasts and what we call climatology. And I'll point out that long-range forecasts are getting better and better. If you think about the prediction for the winter this year, which is really spot on, that's an example of how good we're getting at being able to predict the weather. Businesses then are able to take that information and plan better so we have what we need when the weather actually comes.
Okay, Paul Walsh, thanks so much for joining us this morning. Enjoy your day. Looks like it's going to be very interesting along much of the eastern seaboard, but out to the west, we've got Winter Storm Harrod that's still blowing across the